So welcome to Collaborating Agents, where every other Wednesday we have a collaboration meeting and we have a guest speaker on a particular topic, and then we collaborate about the topic or about what our wins or struggles are and help each other out. Today we have Jennifer Kitchen coming to talk to us. She's with Rise Realty in the Hocking Hills area of Ohio, which is kind of sort of near Columbus. And she's going to talk to us about success with niches. She has had incredible success by niching down in 2023 and moving into 2024. So Jennifer, take it away.
All right. So yeah, we're going to talk about niches or niches. I know Katrina's saying niches, but riches and niches, that rhymes. So, and I say both. So I'll say both throughout this presentation. So, but yeah, so what I basically did was I started really niching down to a specific area and type of property, and that's investors. And so I'll get into that here in a minute. But I'm sure you all know what a niche or a niche is, but this is the definition that they give you online. So as you know, it's specialized and it can be a small, and my niche is actually a pretty small niche. So there's not a whole lot of properties, and it's very small and very specialized, but some are larger than others. And I know you probably heard that you should niche down. And a lot of people are afraid to do that. And I myself was afraid to do that for the longest time. I've always been interested in this specific niche, and always thought about doing it and going all in, but just afraid, like I think a lot of people are, that if I go all in doing this, what if it doesn't work? And then I will not get buyers or clients from my other areas and referrals, which that ended up not being the case for me when I really started doing this. And like Katrina said, I just really started niching down just about last summer. So fairly new, but had really, really great success. And some of the reasons I have here of why you might want to consider niching down. One of the big things here is you get to stand out and distinguish yourself from other agents, which that's really important, as you know. When you look and sound and you're saying the same things and doing the same things as everyone else, it really makes it hard for you to explain to a buyer or seller or client why they should work with you and why you're different. But when you niche down and are really specific with a certain topic, you really become the go-to expert in your specific area. So, and then you get to attract the right people to you. And my favorite part is, you're not out chasing clients. This is something that I didn't even realize was going to happen when I started niching down. I just started putting out content and started doing things to attract people, and they start reaching out to me. I'm not going out trying to look for these people. They're just finding me based on the content that I am putting out on social media and other things that I'm doing. And then optimizing your time. So that has been a really, really big time saver for me. Before, I was just kind of like all over the place. I have like a million different Facebook pages that I'd started like years ago, and I would put things here and there. I started one for new construction. I started one for different neighborhoods. I started one for, the Columbus area, and I had one for my Hocking Hills area, Southeast Ohio, that I would just be all over the place trying to create content for everyone. Is just, it takes a lot of your time. And then sometimes, I would just not do it. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of people. You have so many things to do, and you sometimes just, you lose track and you stop working on that. So it's really been a time saver. When you know who you're talking to, you really are able to just put content and create content towards those people and what they need or what they're looking for. And then that's, how you just basically attract them. And that's kind of what I started doing. And then another great benefit, if you are a specialist in something and you're niching down, you can earn more money. And that was the case for me when I started doing that. So, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. You think of doctors and things like that. When you are a specialist in something, you usually earn a little bit more money. All right. And then, so the types of niches. So I like to call this the 3 Ps: place, property, and people. And I think a lot of people, they understand place, location. I think that's probably what a lot of people, a lot of real estate agents do. They choose a neighborhood or a zip code or like a city or two. And that's where they show properties. That's where they kind of, get their clients from. They probably maybe farm a neighborhood or two. And so I think a lot of agents are familiar with that. But to take it a step further, to actually really niche down, you can specialize in a certain type of property, which I think a lot of people are familiar with. Katrina, before we started, mentioned condos. So condos is a big one. You could do small condos, high-rise condos. There's land, luxury homes. These are just, quick examples. I think you get the gist of that. Vacation homes, which is what I'll talk about more. And then another thing, way to niche down is people, like the type of person. It doesn't have to necessarily be a certain type of property, but you can talk, obviously, and work with a specific subset of people. A lot of you are probably familiar with people that work specifically with military families. I know an agent that lives outside like the Washington, D.C. area, and that's the only people that she works with. And she has tons and tons of clients. And so that might be a certain niche. And then, so before I got into real estate, when I was first out of college, I worked in financial advising, financial planning. And one of the things that my mentor and my manager really tried to teach us to do was to have a niche, have a specialty, to work with a certain type of person. And my mentor, Jason, he worked with teachers. His parents were both teachers. And so he really got a really good start. And again, this wasn't real estate, this was financial advising, but working with teachers because they have a certain, type of, situations and money and things like that. Growing families, investors, and basically just about any type of profession. I mean, people work with doctors, nurses, first responders, things like that. But so yeah, if you choose a place and then a location, narrow it down to property or type of person, and that can really kind of give you an idea of what kind of a niche that you work with. And then we'll get into what I've actually been doing and what my niche is. So I am from Logan, Ohio, which is Hocking County, the Hocking Hills area. And in that area, there are a lot of short-term rentals, vacation homes, which a lot of people call Airbnbs. And it's always been a kind of vacation destination for people within 1 to 3 hours or so of the area. We get a lot of visitors from Columbus area, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, usually anything with about 1 to 3 hour drive. People will visit there, and it's a huge outdoor place. So there's lots of caves, hiking, ATV trails, zip lining, waterfalls, canoeing, basically anything you can think of outdoors. It's not a huge area. I think the population of Hocking County itself is about 28 or maybe 20,000, something like that. 28,000. So it's not a huge area. It's very rural, obviously. And that's just kind of about the area. There's always been visitors. It's not a new place. We've had visitors coming for, decades to the area. It's just really grown a lot more in this last few years. People are now more familiar with Airbnb, and people are wanting to get short-term rentals and making money that way. And so it's really blown up in the last few years. I'd say 2020, it just really started growing after that, even more so. And the type of properties there in the Hocking Hills that I've kind of been working with and selling and helping my investors with are log cabins. Those are very popular, little cottagey like houses that look kind of vacationy and cute. And a lot of people now are creating like container homes, tree houses, things like that. Those type of properties haven't really been on the market too much for me to like sell or show to clients, but they're becoming more popular. But you can see pictures here. These are just some little pictures of the area. These two cabins right here are actually properties that are for sale right now. And then this little the bedroom here, that was a property that I sold last year, $1 million property that my clients had fixed up, and they ended up selling it. But just, you can kind of get the idea of what the area looks like there. Most of them are rural areas, and then most of these properties are sold turnkey with all the furnishings. So a little bit different than just a traditional sale, because usually all the contents of the house, all the dishes and linens and bedding and, obviously all the furniture goes with that. So that is kind of what I've been niching down to and working towards this last year. Let's see here. About my clients, I'm just going to drink of water here. Most of my clients are investors. They're buyers primarily, is what I've been attracting and working with. And most of my clients are investors that live outside of the area. So most of them have never even been to the Hocking Hills, or some of them have never even been to Ohio before. So it's really crazy to me that they're finding out about this area, wanting to buy investment properties here, and they've never even seen them. Some have visited once or twice or kind of heard about the area, but most of the clients I've been working with have not. And then I have here a good deal of my clients last year, they didn't even see these properties. A lot of them don't even look at them. They basically take my recommendation on the property, like good location. This would be, I'll let them know this would be a good one. This would be a good property, a good investment. It's a good area. I usually go and to do video tours for them, and I get past numbers, and I give them ideas for what it could potentially the type of revenue that they could get if they were to purchase that property. And I did sell a few last year where they had never even seen the property. So that's a lot of trust, but I guess that's what happens when you start, niching down, and, they think you know what you're talking about, and they trust me. So that is that. And then the type of clients or the type of agent that they're usually looking for, they're just looking for someone that is an expert in that area, and they know short-term rental sales. And they really need me to teach them about the area. So that is something that has been great for me. I can create content. Like I mentioned, they're not familiar with the area. They've never been here. And so they're always asking me questions about where's the best location? What do people do here? I had to have a conversation yesterday with a new investor, and he was asking me about the snow. He's from Washington State, and he was asking me about like snow and like snow removal and like, the seasonality and things like that. So I really have to hold their hands, because they really don't know anything at all about the area. So I create content around that, and that really helps with that as well. And then numbers, obviously, they're investors. That's really important to them. They really want to know, obviously revenue, occupancy rates, cap rates, cash on cash returns. Those are all these questions that they ask, and things that are really, really important to them, because obviously they're doing this to make money. So they just need to make sure that the property is right for them. So. And then, okay, so how did I attract my niche clients? Actually, I really didn't do anything really crazy or anything really time consuming. I just started making content around this. I did run some paid Facebook ads in the beginning for this, but those didn't really perform too well, because like I mentioned, a lot of these people that are purchasing, these properties live outside the area. So a lot of my clients are just finding me organically through the stuff I post on my social media pages. I did create a Facebook and an Instagram page for my area called the Hocking Hills or Hocking Hills Real Estate. I made that years ago. And like I mentioned, I had several pages and I was kind of all over the place. And I was only like just posting things here and there. And it was not very frequent or regular posting on that at all. And then when I really started focusing in last year and specifically on investors, short-term rentals, I started posting content about, the type of loan, like investor loans, like DSCR loans, just information on information on the area, properties that were for sale that would be good short-term rentals. And also, me out in the community doing showings and hiking in the area, and just kind of showing them the area. And again, I don't do this I'm not even the best at posting, regular. I'm a lot more regularly posting now that I just have this niche that I'm trying to focus on. But it's pretty much what I've been doing, and people just reach out to me for help because they need an agent and have questions about investing in the area. And at the end of last year, I did start a Facebook group for short-term rental investors. And I wish I would have done this a long time ago, because this has been a huge like blessing in my business, because I just have people finding this. Now I have it set to public so people can find it. And I just post good investment opportunities and info on the area. And like I mentioned, I just started it, so it's still new. There's not even a ton of content on that in that group yet, but people are finding it and reaching out to me. And I get direct messages like once or twice a week from people that find the group or find my page and want to buy or invest in the area. So I'm trying to expand the group eventually, to include like people like servicers, like designers, cleaners, and things like that that can kind of help out with the investors once they purchase. But for now, it's mostly just investors that are on that page. It's small, but it's working, and it's growing pretty fast. So I'm really, really excited about that. And then referrals. I do get some of my niche clients for the investors from referrals. There is property management company that sends me, it's a nationwide property management company, and they send me referrals for people that are considering investing in the area. There is a short-term rental host that's somewhere else in Ohio. She's like more northern Ohio. And we've kind of collaborated and talked with each other before, and she sends me referrals as well from that. So, and then past client and agents, but that's not been too big. Most of it's just organic, finding my group or finding my page and reaching out to me that way. So, and then I have written down here, like, you attract the type of clients you want by the content you post, and other marketing you do. And that's been the case. Like, once I just started putting out the content and the information and started talking and using hashtags and talking about short-term rentals and vacation properties and the Hocking Hills, people just start finding this and reaching out to me because they see me as the expert. And I just really started, like I mentioned, doing this last summer. And a great benefit, like I mentioned, is you attract the right client to you. So by the content that you put out, you're really attracting who you want to work with. These are a few messages, Facebook messages that I've received recently. Actually, two of these were just from this week. So Monday night, and then actually yesterday. So Dustin messaged me yesterday morning, and wanted to find a client. And I don't know if you can read this or not, but he's like, "Hi, Jennifer. I currently own a few SDRs out of state, and I'm looking to find something in the Hocking Hills. I live 1.5 hours away, looking for something under 800K that has good revenue, yada, yada." And he's like, looking for a realtor that knows the area well. If you'd like to get together, to work together, my email is, gave me his email, no problem. And then he emailed me 3 properties that he's interested in and wants me to run numbers for him. So I'm going to do that today. And then, and this message right here in the middle that you see, he messaged me Monday night. I was getting ready to go to bed. He's from Washington State, outside the area, not familiar at all with the area. And so yesterday afternoon, we had about a 45-minute conversation on the phone. And he, like a lot of my other investors from outside the area, asked me all those questions too about, we talked about the snow, snow removal. How much does it snow here? Well, the seasonality, and I don't know, just basically anything you can think of, because he wasn't familiar with the area. And so I added him, as I did the other people, to my investor list. And I have a great email. I use Flowdesk to keep in touch with these people. I send everyone on my investor list a weekly update with the new properties that are for sale that would make good short-term rentals. And then I have an intro email for like new investors that aren't familiar with the area. And I send that email on them, like, where are the best places that you could purchase? What activities do people do? And stuff like that. But I mean, it's great that people were just finding me, reaching out to me, and I'm not having to like cold call or chase people down, just by the content that I put out. And then this last message over here, this is from Storm. He actually lives not too far from here. He's in the Columbus area, about an hour away. He reached out to me on New Year's Eve and said 2024 is going to be the year we're going to purchase one. And, he found my group too. He told me he found my group, joined it. And we actually went out, and I'm actually actively working with him now. I met him and his wife, and he has 2 adorable little kids. Actually got stuck in the driveway because this was in January. I actually did have snow right before we had a showing for one of the short-term rentals. And the driveways are like really steep, some of them. And I actually got stuck twice, but I still got out, showed him the property.
Water faucet that doesn't put out water, or a shower that no water's, or a washing machine where you could be in the middle of
Renee, can you mute yourself, please?
I thought it was mine for a second. I'm like, where did that come from? But yeah, so it's great. So he's actively looking for something. I did show him one property. It didn't meet exactly what he was looking for. There was some like dog boarding or training or something, and it was very loud, and you could hear the dogs from. But he's definitely actively looking. I'm going to be hopefully showing some other properties here soon too. But that's kind of that's been my favorite thing about it. People are just reaching out to me. And then just some quick results from when I started niching down, and this is what kind of happened. All of my biggest sales that I've ever had, that I had last year and I've ever were from this niche, from short-term rentals. I had $1 million sale, a $950,000, $815, a $700, which here in Ohio, that's a lot, because most of the properties around here, a few $100,000 or so, depending on the area. So a few $100,000 is usually about the average, depending on, the exact area. But $1 million and $700, $1 million, that's pretty common for a decent sized short-term rental in the Hocking Hills. So that was a huge, huge thing. So my average sales price did increase by 12% last year. I added 225 people to my database that are specifically, from that niche. So it doesn't sound huge, but a lot of these people I've actually had conversations with, talked to, and are, going to be looking for something whenever the right property comes on the market. I'm currently working with about 6 active buyers that are ready to buy, like, as soon as they find something. They want something like right now, like within the next month or 2. And then I have 5 or so that are passively, they're looking, but they're also kind of maybe looking in another area. And it's just a matter of time, depending on what they find. They're not as active, but they're still looking. So there's definitely potential for there. So, but people just keep reaching out to me. So, I as I post more content and get better with, putting stuff into my group and growing that, I think it's, I'll get more people reaching out. But that's kind of where my results from last year and current plans for this year. Like I mentioned, last year, and what I've currently been doing is just putting content on social media, primarily Facebook and then my group. But this year I want to add in some other things to help grow that even more. I'm going to start doing like mailers, postcards, and things that are geared towards sellers and sending those to them. So I can also not be just working with buyers, but with sellers as well, because this niche is very, very small. Maybe 40 or so homes turnover a year in the area that are actual short-term rentals or would be good short-term rentals. And so, if that you're only working to buy, that's very small, but that will definitely expand it if I can get listings in there as well. And I also want to create a website blog for my areas, specifically, Hocking Hills and short-term rentals, investing info and stuff like that. And then also joining investor groups online and in person. That's another great way to meet with people. And then Bigger Pockets and LinkedIn, just trying to put more content out there, because that's where a lot of the, people that have the money, or people, and obviously investors. Bigger Pockets is great and big with investors. Just getting into that community, I think, will really help as well. So that's kind of my plans for this year going forward, adding that to what I've already been doing to hopefully expand. And then just some info on how do you choose your niche? Well, I think the biggest thing was who do you like working with? What type of clients have you worked with in the past that you really enjoy working with? And what do they have in common? And also maybe think about what you like, what's your background, what you like to do. For me, my background is in finance. I have a degree in finance, and I worked in investments out of college, not real estate investing, but mutual funds, things like that. So I'm a very numbers person. And I also just love travel, tourism. I used to work at the hotel there in Logan and Hocking Hills when I was in 19 and first in college. So I think this just fits my, what I like to do and my background. So just try and figure out what do you like to do? What are your strengths? And, also what type of clients do you like to work with? Examples of some niches. I just threw this together. A lot of you probably, are familiar with a lot of these, but you can niche down into waterfront properties, condos, luxury homes, short-term rentals, which is what I do, vacation properties. There's an agent in my office that specializes in land and agriculture. He sells big, huge, properties that have 10, 20, 50 acres. And he really specializes in that. And he does really, really great for himself. And I'm trying to think some other people that I know that have niches around here, but he's the one that comes to mind. But, obviously, here's some other ideas of different types of people that you could work with. New construction also, I think I didn't even put that on there, but you get the gist. But once you figure out who you want to work with, what your niche is going to be, just learn everything that you can about it. Like I mentioned, they want an expert. And if you're just focusing on one type of client or one type of property, you really, you have the time to really focus and go all in and learn everything you can about that, what the type of buyer that you're working with needs, what their concerns or questions are. And then you can just create content about that and hopefully attract people to you. So, and then I found this quote, which I thought was great. No niche is too small if it's yours. I love Seth Godin. But that's all I got.